What's going on, Falcon fan? This is Maricondo coming back at you with another video. So today, guys, we're gonna talk about what everybody seemingly is still talking about after the draft has been over for about a week and a half now, and it seems like everybody still have the Michael Penix pick, number 8 overall pick, still in their mind. It was reported that they're probably going to talk about it. Look like they could talk about it for the next 2 years about the decision that Atlanta Falcons made with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. The question that we're going to talk about today is there going to be a potential quarterback controversy in the Atlanta Falcons locker room this year? You know, with the play on the field of Kirk Cousins, of course, and will that spark up a quarterback controversy because the Atlanta Falcons picked Michael Penix at number 8 overall? We'll talk about that. Then we'll definitely talk about some potential breakout players for 2024, guys that I feel that needs to have breakout years for the Atlanta Falcons to, finally reach that drought of actually having a winning season, probably, winning the NFC South and getting into a playoff berth, hosting a home playoff game. So that's some of the things we're going to talk about today. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, before we get into the topics today, let's do a quick recap because we haven't talked in about almost a week now. I took a hiatus after the draft. After get my draft analysis, then I took a little break from talking about the Atlanta Falcons, sitting with let the dust settles and things like that. But now we are back. But as we stand today, Atlanta Falcons have 86 guys on the roster. We know rookie minicamp starts this weekend, and then they will have some more um, OTAs where all the team will get together. So probably we'll hear from some of the rookies this weekend. I think it's the 10th through the 12th. They will have rookie minicamp, and then the other guys will come in that starting that week next week. Have a couple of days of OTAs to all the team to get together. So it's starting to to take form for the 2024 season slowly but surely, slowly but surely. But it's still a lot of questions out there for this Atlanta Falcon team. Particular what they're going to do with AJ Terrell contract. They still got 4 roster spots to fill. To get to that 90-man roster. So could they add vets? Could they add some more, undrafted free agents, things like that? Definitely, a lot of things that's still up in air for the Falcons get to do. But the big topic, that's really been, circulating around the NFL and what sent shockwaves, we already talked about into really a lot of depth. What sent shockwaves until the NFL draft is when the Atlanta Falcons decide to go against everybody' opinion, what they should do with their team, and pick Michael Penix Jr., right? Most people had them picking a defender. Um, I think if they would even pick an offensive player, it wouldn't be this much chatter because we know Rome Odunze definitely was on the board at the time. So if they would have went out, decided and picked out Rome Odunze, maybe this would not be an issue right now with the Atlanta Falcons actually go ahead and make a decision to go ahead and draft in Michael Penix. However, they made the decision they made, and the question is, guys, really, is there a quarterback controversy in Atlanta? Right? That's the question that seems to be a big issue around here. I mean, let's look at the facts, guys. The facts are the Atlanta Falcons, about 6 weeks prior to the draft, um, they decided to pursue Kirk Cousins at the start of the new league year. We all know how that turned out. Got tampering charges, allegedly coming down the pipe for us. But the Atlanta Falcons, pursued Kirk Cousins real hard because they wanted to solidify the quarterback position. They wanted to bring in a veteran. In all intents and purposes, they got the best quarterback that was out on the market at the time, based off, his work that he had put in throughout his 12-year career. And when they got him, yes, and they had to pay a pretty penny for him to come to the Atlanta Falcons, right? Now, they had to prime away for the Minnesota Vikings. We do know that. It was a report today that the Minnesota Vikings, he really had interest in staying with those guys, but the Minnesota Vikings told him that, yeah, we can sign you. They're not going to sign him for the amount of money that the Atlanta Falcons signed him for. And also, they was, potentially trying to draft a quarterback because they had the number 11 overall pick, right? So that's that. So Kirk Cousins decided to sign with Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons gave him a contract up to 180 million. Of course, we know it was 100 million guaranteed, $50 million signing bonus. So the first 2 years you get up to 90 million. That third year is the 10 million going into 2026 season, which gives you up to that $100 million contract that everybody has been talking about, right? So the Atlanta Falcons, 6 weeks prior to the draft, signed Kirk Cousins. For all intents and purpose, the whole NFL world, listen to everybody. It was a great move. The Atlanta Falcons should win the NFC South. They should do this. They should do that, right? All that stuff, right? Us as fans, we was happy with it. Some people had some mixed feeling because Kirk Cousins is coming off with Achilles injury. We don't know how that's going to affect him, even though he's not a guy who's going to run around the pockets and things like that. But they brought in Kirk Cousins. Personally, I thought it probably was after going over and over again what I understood that they was not going to be able to get at the time. Now, not going to be able to get to one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft. So if that was not the case, go out and go the free agency route, and that's what they did. They went and got Kirk Cousins. Right? So we know the history. Now you fast forward to the NFL draft. Most people thought they was going to defender. Now prior to the draft, during the draft process, somewhere in that process, they looked at film of Michael Penix Jr. and apparently they just fell in love with the young guy. I mean, that's where it really boils down to. They fell in love with Michael Penix Jr. They decided to bring him in. Actually, they flew out to Washington, and if you listen to the stories out there, and everybody have their story, right? So you listen to the story, and it was negative 30-degree weather, and he threw wet cold balls and things like that. Of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but at the end of the day, he really impressed the coaching staff and the front office personnel that was there. Raheem Morris was really, really impressed about what he seen with Michael Penix Jr. And at the time, I think they really fell in love with Michael Penix Jr. Right. So now it was also a report. So let's go back. So that's where the Michael Penix Jr. where they fell in love with him at that point, right? Also, they knew they had Kirk Cousins. They knew they had Kirk Cousins. They knew they had a winner there at Kirk Cousins. Now it's reported 3 years ago. 3 years ago, and I should get my my sources here because I don't want to misquote people and things like that. But I'm just going to rephrase it so I'm not verbatim and anything like that. But it was reported that 3 years ago when Raheem Morris actually interviewed for this Atlanta Falcons job, he actually thought about this succession plan from Matt Ryan, right? Matt Ryan's 36 years old. We need to have a succession plan for him. So if I do become the head coach of Atlanta Falcons, we need to be looking at trying to find his replacement here, succession plan, going into the new year, right? So that's what Raheem Morris pitched to, the regime, the Falcons front office personnel and the owner back then in 2020, right? We all know what happened. Arthur Blank decided to go in a different direction. He brought Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, coaching veteran quarterbacks, and Ryan Tannehill decided to stick with Matt Ryan. Of course, we know the salary cap situation and, so on and so forth. Instead of just doing a complete teardown, probably what the Atlanta Falcons probably should have did, they decided to make shift with Matt Ryan, right? They decided to forego the quarterback in 2020 in 2021. We know they paid Kyle Pitts. They passed up on the quarterbacks in that draft, which, hindsight 2020, if you're looking at that draft, every quarterback in that draft, aside for Trevor Lawrence, is now on a new team. So maybe the Atlanta Falcons had a good eye at that time to not go ahead and pick one of those guys in that draft, right? So every quarterback in that draft, that 2021 draft, actually on another team except Trevor Lawrence. So, hindsight 2020, maybe they made the right decision not to go get a quarterback in that year, right? Now we just go to the next season, right? We know they pursued Deshaun Watson, right? Hard, right? Pissed a lot of fans off. A lot of people decided they weren't going to be Falcon fans anymore. It was reported that Deshaun Watson was, all but coming to be a Falcon until the Cleveland Browns gave him a completely guaranteed contract at $230 million. And the Falcons lost off on that. Pissed Matt Ryan off. Matt Ryan kind of did him a favor, traded him to Indianapolis Colts. We know about Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder. We know how the quarterback situation been since that, right? So they was trying to fix the quarterback position, even in the second year, Arthur Smith, tenure as the head coach. That's what we know. That's when it started, right? The issue with this whole issue, guys, and we know basically Arthur Smith put all his eggs in the basket on Desmond Ridder, right? Came into the offseason last year, and they sold Desmond Ridder to be the guy, right? Third round pick. They're going to give him the keys to the franchise, right? Knowing that this was the first time the Falcons had all the money to spend. They had a clean cap sheet. They made all those, improvements on defense. This is where we can go out and win games, and we can get back into the postseason. What's going on, Wallace? So that's what happened, right? So it didn't work out. It didn't work out for Arthur Smith whatsoever. It did not work out. We chronicle over this last 2023 season. We all talked about it. We all pissed off about it because they underachieved. It's no other way around it. And, due to that underachievement, Arthur Smith lost his job. Now we go back, we hire Raheem Morris. Now, Raheem Morris told these guys back in 2020 that they probably need a succession plan, right? They need to fix this quarterback position. Now he takes over the team and it's no quarterback at all, right? They don't even have the Matt Ryan here anymore to even work on that succession plan, right? So he got to fix the quarterback position from the jump, right? So we just talked about how they did that with Kirk Cousins, right? Now let's go back to that day, that cold, windy day up in Washington. They fly back to Atlanta, right? And at this point, they feeling like they got their future quarterback, right? They got their guy. Right? Now we know Terry Fontenot always go best player available. That's what he does. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's been doing it for the last 3 seasons. He goes best player available, and that's what they do. Now, according to reports again, they had Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Penix Jr., and Jaden Daniels. That's what their 4 top guys on their board. That's what the 4 top guys on their board. The other 3 went in the top 4, right? We know what happened. The other 3 guys went in the top 4. Caleb Williams went number 1, Jaden Daniels went number 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. went number 4, right? So when it comes to number 8, the Atlanta Falcons had their 4th guy on the board. Now, they just paid Kirk Cousins $180 million, $100 million guaranteed, right? But you got your guy that can potentially take you into the future for 10 to 15 years. You got to have a succession plan. Raheem Morris been thinking about this for 3 years that he need a succession plan, right? That's what he decided to do. Now, let's think about this. The Chicago Bears, they had an opportunity to draft Deshaun Watson, right? Because they had the number 2 overall pick. They had a chance to draft Deshaun Watson. Now we know Deshaun Watson trajectory of his career had took a big turn in the last couple of years. So, but before that, he was really, really on a upward trajectory. What kind of quarterback he was going to be. So they had an opportunity to get Deshaun Watson. They also had an opportunity to draft Patrick Mahomes, right? That's what the same draft that they had. They had an opportunity, right? Now we know what Patrick Mahomes turned out to be, right? 3 Super Bowls, has been to the AFC title game his whole career, right? This just amazing his trajectory, his career he had. The Kansas City Chiefs moved up from 27, moved all the way up number 10, and they pulled him off the board. They had Alex Smith, there as their franchise quarterback at the time, but they seen something, right? They fell in love with Patrick Mahomes. Now we can come back to the future and be like, hey, that was a good idea, right? But sometimes teams fall in love with guys and they don't pan out at all. But what I'm saying about the Atlanta Falcons, because this issue has took, has took his life of his own. It's not going to end. It's not going to die. We're going to talk about it. But the Atlanta Falcons, when they saw Michael Penix Jr., in essence, they felt like they found their Patrick Mahomes, right? And if they felt like they found their Patrick Mahomes, and he's the number 4th guy on your board, you can't pass up on that guy. The only way they would do that if they had a 24-year-old quarterback that was under contract already on the team, right? But if you got a guy, yes, you just got 6 weeks prior, you just paid him $108 million. I understand the logic. When it first happened, we all know the reaction. It didn't make any sense. But now when you peel back everything on it and look at the information that you got, and you take a look at where this organization is, right? Trying to build for the future, right? They got the quarterback for now, right? It's Kirk Cousins. They got him, right? We are trying to win the division this year. It's no doubt about it. They're not trying to win the division. We know that's their plan. Their main goal is to try to get out this playoff drought for the last 7 years and get back to the playoffs, right? Raheem Morris said it. People saying that this roster is not good enough to win a Super Bowl. It might not be. But one thing we do know, you have to get to the tournament to even play for the Super Bowl. And if you listen to this your thing, we win NFC South, we host a playoff game, and you don't know what the fuck can happen, right? That's the truth. That's the honest God truth. So we got our quarterback in Kirk Cousins. If he's healthy, he plays well, we can actually win this division. We have an opportunity to win this division. It's not set in stone because you got to go out and play the games, right? And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ain't going down just giving the division to Atlanta Falcons because we went and got Kirk Cousins. We got to go out and take it, right? That's just the bottom line. Right. But if you have your guy that they feel that's going to be their quarterback for the future, and I don't want to compare him to Patrick Mahomes because this guy, his first 6 years in this league is probably like no other quarterback we ever seen, right? 3 Super Bowls. They're trying to go a 3-peat right now, right? Just look at Tom Brady get roasted. Patrick Mahomes win another Super Bowl this year. He's right on Tom Brady, heels already, and he's only been in the league 7 years. So that would be amazing, start of his career. So I'm not comparing Michael Penix Jr. to a Patrick Mahomes, but the Atlanta Falcons feel like that's who they got, right? That's their guy. And you never pass up on your guy because if you knew if you had that feeling for it and you had that conviction that's the guy and that's the way you feel from top to bottom that he's our guy, you have to pull the card in, and that's what they did. It's just that simple. They decided to pull the card in for Michael Penix Jr. And now we have this situation where the mainstream media is just so outraged about it, um, to the point where if it's not a quarterback controversy, they're going to create one, right? It's just to the point where I feel like the people on the outside are more outraged about the decision to bring Michael Penix Jr. in with Kirk Cousins than the people on the inside that made the decision, right? I mean, I think people are more upset than Kirk Cousins himself may be upset. Now we know he had to have some kind of feeling about it, right? We know how Brett Favre was when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. We know how Aaron Rodgers was when they drafted Jordan Love, right? We understand that, you bring me in to be the guy to win, and then you don't invest in me right away, right? They took a pick in Michael Penix Jr. that does not help this team this year, right? We understand that. Kirk Cousins could feel some type of way about it. Also, I mean, he came out and said he wanted to retire as the Falcon, right? Well, if you bringing a guy in to be my succession plan, what basically you're saying? So I understand the angst, but if Kirk Cousins is a real professional, right? First of all, they paid him $100 million, so I mean, honestly, he really can't say a whole lot because they just tell you how much they wanted you because they paid you $100 million, right? They could have went out and they could have got a Russell Wilson. They could have got a Tannehill, right? They could have got a Gardner Minshew. They could have traded for Justin Fields. They could have did all this, but no, the Atlanta Falcons took those resources, that $100 million, $100 million, and invested in Kirk Cousins, right? Now it's a mismanagement of resources by drafting a quarterback that you're probably going to sit for a couple of years. Yes, it is, but they had the convictions they wanted that young quarterback to be their future, but they took the investment on Kirk Cousins for right now. So that's the way he has to look at it. That's the way the organization looking at it. That's the way his teammates probably should look at it. Right now, sure, Michael Penix Jr. be upset because he gonna have to sit. Yes, it's 100%. Michael Penix Jr. should be feeling some type of way because he has to sit and sit behind Kirk Cousins. Right, Kirk Cousins, should he feel some type of way that he got to be looking over his shoulder? Probably, potentially. We know for a fact every time, because we know how fickle our fan base is in Atlanta, right? Every time Kirk Cousins have a bad game, he said he go out and throw 3 interceptions in the game, we lose the game. The fan base be like, maybe give Michael Penix a chance. This is what's gonna happen. We get it. I understand, but Raheem Morris, Terry Fontenot, and basically Raheem Morris, because during the season, it's all about the head coach. He has to manage all that, right? He has to be able to ensure Kirk Cousins that he's the guy, right? He already started it. If you listen to the last press conference, he started it 100%. What's going on, Michael? What's going on, Matt Time Dirty? He started it already, right? He already started that. Hey, Kirk Cousins is our guy. Kirk Cousins is our guy. He don't have to look over his shoulder, right? That's what he said. But it don't matter what he said, right? Because like I said, Kirk Cousins started to stink up the joint. It's gonna be clamors and people gonna start talking, right? The national media can't wait. They can't wait to start talking because they just so upset and irate about the Atlanta Falcons. Go ahead and you pay this guy, and I mean if you listen to Rich Eisen Day, he had like they just got Kirk Cousins for nothing. Like they paid him nothing. They paid this man $100 million. His wife is from Atlanta. Like you just rooting him up from his home. And no, man, he's home already. The guy said he spent all his summers down here in Georgia, so he's already home. It's not like, it really seems like the national media is trying to make it more of a big deal than the players themselves are making it a big deal. Yes, those guys feel some type of way. But if Kirk Cousins a baller, he comes out and he be like, young guy, you ain't playing because I'm going to come out and do my thing, right? That's what it's all about. So the quarterback controversy, it comes with, in my opinion, and as simple as this, quarterback comes with losing. It comes with losing. That's where the quarterback controversy comes into play. It's just that simple. Raheem Morris talked about it. It's result business, right? Kirk Cousins got paid $100 million. He's the starter. As long as the Kirk Cousins is winning games, it's no controversy, guys. It's no controversy. And you don't pay a guy $100 million and be like, you're going to play no matter how bad you're playing because we paid you $100 million. It don't work like that. Yes, it's going to be a waste. Right? We paid a guy $100 million. But if Kirk Cousins is playing like crap, you're right. You got your future right now. Just go ahead and put him in. Right? But quarterback controversy starts with losing. Right? That's not the mentality that any of the players, Kirk Cousins, the head coach, the front office, us as fans, we should not have that mentality that we're going to be losing to create a quarterback controversy, right? That's really the only way a controversy would start. Because if we're losing games and Kirk Cousins thinking of the joint, maybe he do need to be replaced. The greatest thing about that is, right, you paid him $100 million, but the greatest thing about it is you got your guy for the future already in the house, right? So his job is to go out and play well, which is the good thing for us as fans because we want him to play well. You don't want a quarterback controversy because you got a quarterback controversy that means he's losing, right? That's not the mindset we should go into this offseason with, that we're going to have a quarterback controversy because Kirk Cousins is going to stink up the joint. That's not the mindset we had before we drafted Michael Penix. Go back and listen to everybody. Before we drafted Michael Penix, right? Everybody said the Atlanta Falcons going to win NFC South. Because we got Michael Penix, that should not change, right? It's just a asset that we got for the future, right? One person was not going to change that dramatically, right? So think about what I'm saying. One person was not going to change that. If you would have drafted a pass rusher, it wasn't going to change how much how do we win more games, to get to the NFC South or not. It's going to be based off how well Kirk Cousins plays, guys, and that's how you not have the quarterback controversy. Now I went through this whole spiel about how we get here, right, and how everybody will not stop talking about it, especially the national media. They keep talking about it. Every content creator that I listen to still talking about Michael Penix, how he's going to feature. Be honest with you guys, we can stop talking about Michael Penix, right? Let's get back into the mode, right? Because Michael Penix is the future, right? If Kirk Cousins plays well, we won't have to talk about Michael Penix right now, right? We're going to see how he looks in the preseason. We're going to see how he's, learning the system and things like that. Yeah, we'll get updates and stuff like that. But if we are winning games, it's no controversy, right? If we're losing games, it should be a controversy because he's not playing well. Our starting quarterback that we paid $100 million to is not playing well. And it's a bad bet. That's what happens. They didn't expect Kirk Cousins to play bad, right? And if he's so weak-minded because they drafted a quarterback to make it like he's playing bad because he's looking over his shoulder, well, he wasn't the guy anyway, right? That's just the point I'm making. If he's worried about somebody replacing him when he just got paid $100 million and he's the vet and he has delivered over and over again, and he's worrying about somebody looking at, he's not the guy anyway. So only way it will be a quarterback controversy if we're losing, and that's not what we want. And if we're losing, you might as well put the young guy in, right? So that's how you create a quarterback controversy, right? Right now, the Michael Penix thing is done. I don't understand why we're still talking about it. He's our future. That's the bottom line. Kirk Cousins, get healthy, get out on the field, do what you're supposed to do. 6 weeks when we signed you, 6 weeks before the draft, we signed you. The game plan is still in. We want you to be able to get us to the playoffs this year. That's your job. That's your assignment. All the stuff you talked about at your press conference, you want to get with the receivers, get everybody on the same page. None of that should change. You're the starter. None of that should change. Only way it'll be a quarterback controversy if he's not playing well. We losing games. Winning cures all. We know this. Aaron Rodgers pissed off. They get Jordan Love. He goes to 2 NFC Championship games, 2 MVPs. Right? That's what he do. That's what he do. That's what ballers do, man. That's what ballers do. So everybody want to talk about a quarterback controversy. If Kirk Cousins come out and play like shit, guess what? It should be a quarterback controversy. If he come out and do what we all thought he was going to do when we signed it before this whole Michael Penix thing, came into effect, then we shouldn't have these problems. So that's why I feel this way about it. All right, the national media just they blowing it out of proportion, and they feel like they're more outraged and not. Now I think we all was outraged when it first happened, and I was the main one. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it, right? Took me a day or so, but I get it, man. They feel like they got their Patrick Mahomes of the future, and if that's the case, they couldn't pass up on him. But they got that guy right now, Kirk Cousins. He need to come out and play ball. They paid for it. It's not like they got him for free. They paid this man $100 million coming off of Achilles tear. So whatever feelings he got about Michael Penix coming in, it shouldn't even matter, man. Do your job, come out and ball out, and don't worry about that down the road. Because if you playing like we expect you to play, he learning. He holding the clipboard. That should be your mindset, right? Everything you talked about, getting with the receivers, understanding how they do, getting on the same page with offensive linemen, getting with Zach Robinson, learning this offense. That's what Kirk Cousins needs to be worried about. That's what everybody should be worried about. And if they talking about a quarterback controversy because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, it's just that's. EQ says, I want both to play great. If the number one goes down, the number two had a chance to shine like Mike did. There you go. If Michael Penix's job is to learn, right? He needs to sit back and be ready. They always say what the backup quarterback is. He's just one play away from getting in the game, right? That's his job, right? It was 47 quarterbacks, 47 it was either 47, 67 different quarterbacks started last year in the NFL. So it's a high probability Michael Penix might see the field this year because Kirk Cousins get injured. Now that could cause a controversy because if Kirk Cousins go down and Michael Penix come in and light it up, now I can see. But guess what, guys? The future starts early. He's the future. So if he outplayed Kirk Cousins, right? The Atlanta Falcons just wasted $100 million. There's no getting it back. They already did it, right? But we got our future here. That's the way you got to look at it, right? It's a sunk cost, man. It's already done deal, right? Hopefully the thing we want Kirk Cousins to come out and play well, right? But if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. They got their future. And hopefully he plays well, because if he don't, then yes, it'll be, new regime, new front office, new coaching staff, everything. It'll be all that, right? But I'm a glass half full guy today. I'm not thinking about all that negative stuff and things like that. So basically what I'm saying, guys, no, it shouldn't be a quarterback controversy because the Atlanta Falcons expect to be winners this year, right? We're going to get out of that 7-year drought of not being in the playoffs, right? That's the plan this year. And if that happens, we won't have to worry about a quarterback controversy. T. Terry said, hey, Ricondo, I'm listening to Madden PG quarterback 1 talking about Michael Penix Jr. like he drafted number 1. See, so when I you start listening to what a lot of people saying about Michael Penix Jr., which is funny, right? Because he wasn't getting all the hype, right? And that's how some front offices like it. I think Atlanta Falcons love the fact that he wasn't getting, because if you listen to those guys, he was their third guy on their board, right? So they really liked him. They really did. So they're not gonna, they was happy that he was talked about going in the second round, going to late rounds and things like that, right? But a lot of people say he has the most, the best arm in this draft, right? You go look at the highlights. The interesting thing about Michael Penix Jr. is that when he would with University of Indiana, right? He was mobile. He moved around a lot. So he has that ability to do all that. But how he was able to change his game, right? Of course, we chronicle about all the injuries he had and things like that, where he was able to change his game. And he got to Washington and he, turned to this really, really good pocket passer, right? Right. Needs a good offensive line, need to work on the mechanics. So it's a good thing he's going to be sitting down, right? Because he's not a finished product, even though he's a little older, right? But he changed his game. And that's what you like about, because his ability to be able to change like that. Mobile quarterback in Indiana. Go back and look at the highlights. He's moving around a lot. He put Indiana on the map, right? Big win against Penn State, one of those seasons before he went down on injury, right? But then you come to Washington, change the game, being a pocket passers, being able to throw the ball all over the field, rocket arm. A lot of his throws, if you look at it, the mechanics wasn't even good, guys. He was throwing just straight arm, right? Wait till he get the footwork down, get with the coaching staff, get with the quarterback coaches, get the mechanics, repetition, with your lower half of your body, going to which arm, starting to be even more accurate than he already is. So those are things opportunity he'd be able to get to do this year, sitting behind Kirk Cousins. But man, he's the future, and they could not pass up on him because in their eyes, and I keep saying it, in their eyes, he was Patrick Mahomes, right? He's the future of the Falcons. That's the way they looked at it, and that's why they picked him. Wallace says, I agree with you, Connell. Kerr is a pro. He shouldn't be worrying about what the media and the people are saying, and go out and do your job and start. Exactly, man. Kirk Cousins shouldn't have no freaking be scared at all, man. Be like, man, look, I've been in this league 12 years. I know this offense like the back of my hand. Matter of fact, I'm gonna help you learn, right? Because it's a team, right? That's what we do. But go out and if you know anything about Kirk Cousins, if you looked at the whole quarterback thing they had on Netflix, man, he's a good dude, man. He's going to be a professional. He's not going to pull a Ryan Tannehill like Ryan Tannehill did to the young quarterback, a couple of years ago when he said it ain't his job to help him. It's not his job, but Kirk Cousins is a good dude, man. I mean, it was already reported that he called Michael Penix after he was drafted. You see what I'm saying? That's a great teammate. Like I said, the media making this out more than what it is, right? Media making this out more than what it is. Tom Brady came in and took over. It happens, yes. Big Drew Bledsoe. You heard Drew Bledsoe last night on the roast, man. It happens. It's sunk cost, man. We already paid Kirk Cousins. He got $100 million guaranteed. You can't get it back, right? Michael Penix come in and take his job. It is what it is. We got our future. It's a good situation. It's a good situation to have. We don't worry about quarterbacks no more. That's the way it looks. That's the way I look at it, man. Like, I don't understand why people making it such like it's ridiculous to me that they still talking about this in national media. For one reason, and second of all, it's like it's all about results. That's what sports all about in the first place. Winning and losing. Only way you get a quarterback controversy if you're losing games. I mean, and that should not be our mindset. We should not be like, man, Kirk Cousins gonna come out and stink it. Man, we just paid this man $100 million. He better not stink it up. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the point I'm trying to make. He better not stink it up. Paid him $100 million. Because I don't think it's going to be a quarterback controversy. And I think make Kirk even better. That's what I'm trying to say. You hit it right on the nose, Wally. I think he's gonna ball out, man. I think he might have one of his better seasons, right? And then the Falcons are gonna be like, damn, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Michael Penix is gonna be even madder now because he's never gonna get on the field. Kirk Cousins come out have one of his best seasons. What's up, bro? It won't be a controversy. Just damn good quarterback. Exactly. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, Condo? We're good in place. We have block out the outside. No, we have to, man, because guess what? They ain't gonna stop talking about it. They're not gonna stop talking about it. They're gonna talk about it, especially. I mean, just imagine this. Preseason game. Michael Penix Jr. go 13 for 13. A couple of touchdowns. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Just imagine that happens, right? The national media gonna go wild with it. Gonna go wild, right? I can't believe they got this guy who probably should be starting right now. You can hear it here. It's gonna be crazy, man. So just stand by, block out the noise. Kirk Cousins need to goddamn play. That's basically what it needs to boil down to. We need Cousin and Penix, cause it's just Penix. We won't have a backup behind him, right? I think it was either 67, 47 quarterbacks played last season. So Penix might get his opportunity. It's just the nature of the beast. He maybe get his opportunity, just nature of the beast. But at the end of the day, guys, it's a results driven league, and that's what it boils down to. I mean, let's be honest. If we went to the playoff last year, guess who would still be our quarterback? Guess who would still be our head coach? They wouldn't have been fired. He wouldn't have been traded. It's a results driven league. It's just that simple. Only way you get a quarterback controversy if these guys are not living up to par. It's just that simple. And if that happens, they got their guy. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, that's the way you gotta look at it. I'm telling you guys, forget about the media, forget about everybody still talking about it. I really believe that from a team standpoint, they ain't even think about no quarterback controversy, right? If you listen to what Jesse Bay has to say, you listen to what Chris Lindstrom had to say in the interviews they gave last week about how much of a leader Kirk Cousins has already is showing them, right? It's just a calming effect of having that veteran in the huddle, having him going over the plays, knowing where he want to go with the ball, understanding the reads, right? He's not worrying about looking over his shoulder, right? The coach already assured him of that. They assured him of that when they paid him $100 million. That's what they did. So he needs to come out and do his job. It's just that simple, man. It's just that simple. It's a result driven lead. If he damn winning games, we ain't got to worry about it. So the quarterback controversy crap, right? The fans going to create it. The fans going to create it. The national media going to create it because Kirk Cousins come out and throw 3 interceptions here, do that, right? Remember, look at the game, guys. Break down and dissect the game. That's what we need to do, right? Let's do that, right? We let's be, freaking let's be objective about the things we look at when we talk about the game because we lose a game. It was Kirk because what really happened in the game, right? Like we could dissect games. Like last year, Desmond Ridder lost us a lot of games. There's no ifs, but all them damn turnovers, that's what lost us games. We can be objective about it, right? That's what I'm saying. So it's not going to be perfect. We know that because nothing is, in this NFL is NFL, man, any given Sunday. So it's not going to be perfect, but we shouldn't be living and dying on every throw that Kirk Cousins made because we hoping that, his replacement could come in. We create that stuff, right? I don't think the team is going to create it because I think the team, right? The only difference with Kirk Cousins is different with the other situations is Kirk Cousins is coming in at the same time, so he's got to build that rapport, with his teammates and things like that, and he's already doing that, right? So that's really the only difference. But comes in, show these guys he the leader, and take everything by the horn. I don't think we're gonna have any issues. That's just the way I look at it. So no, there's not going to be a quarterback controversy. All right, guys, let's get into some potential breakout guys for this season. So when I looked at the breakout guys, because we, like I said, we still trying to win NFC South. That's our plan. That's what we're trying to succeed this, get done this year, right? But it's some guys that that needs to have breakout seasons, and it's guys that's already on the team, right? The Atlanta Falcons got a pretty good roster, right? So if we got certain guys on this team that just have breakout seasons like they should, right? We should be good anyway, right? Don't worry about who we drafted and things like that. You hope those young guys, contribute this year and make plays. But we need some of the guys that's already on this team that the Atlanta Falcons had already invested in. And if these guys step up, and I'm gonna talk about three guys today, one on offense and two on defense. And if these three guys have breakout seasons, guess what? We're gonna be sitting pretty anyway. That's the way I look at it. So the first guy I'm gonna talk about is a guy that already had a good season, a couple of years ago, and that is Kyle Pitts, right? Kyle Pitts, right? Guy that had over 1,000 yards rookie season, went to the Pro Bowl. Everybody said great pick. He living up to that number 4 overall pick because the way he played, right? Couldn't get in the end zone as much as we would like him to, but he was able to put up the yardage to show, that the pick was worth it, right? Now, we all know the Atlanta Falcons picked up his fifth-year option for next year, but this is the year he needs to prove that he can get it done. It's just that simple. Kyle Pitts needs to prove this again. Now, last year, with the poorest quarterback play that we could ever have, Kyle Pitts had 53 receptions, 667 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's what Kyle Pitts had last year, right? And that's what like I said, some of the worst quarterback play that we have seen in a long time. It's no other way around it. That's the way it is. Now, Raheem Morris, talking to Steve Weiss on the interview, he said he will be one of the focal points of this offense, right? Um, and I'm jealous, man, because I go look at the other tight ends in this league. I go look at the Travis Kelce's. I go look at the Sam Laportas, right? I look at all those guys and how effective they use their tight ends, right? I look at Mark Andrews, right? You look at how effective those offenses use their tight ends. Kyle Pitts can be in the same vein, right? Kyle Pitts need to go back to the 2021 season, have that breakout season. He has the athletic ability. He's 2 years removed from the injury that he suffered, the MCL, PCL injuries that he suffered. He should be 100% back to form. Kyle Pitts needs to have a breakout season. Gets to 80 receptions this year instead of the 53. Get to 70, 80 receptions. Get over 1,000 yards. Again, I can see that happening. And that happens, the way Kirk Cousins sling the ball around, that's going to catapult the Falcons to reach their goals that they need to reach. It's just that simple, guys, right? Kyle Pitts is my offensive guy that need to have a breakout season because he's the unicorn. He's the number 4 overall pick, right? He's the guy that should create the most mismatches on the team. He's that guy. He's the guy. The same way he tortured cornerbacks in the first season when we had Matty Ice throwing the ball, right? When you put him on a linebacker, right? The only one bad game he had was against Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore against Carolina Panthers. They put a corner on him, a veteran corner, kind of locked him down a little bit. But that was welcome to the NFL moment for Kyle Pitts. But other than that, man, Kyle Pitts was dynamic that first season, and he has the potential to get there because now he has a quarterback that can consistently be able to get him the rock, right? The offense should be tailored to make sure to get the tight end and create those mismatches that I was talking about. Get him on the linebackers, right? Get him on the safeties, right? Get him on the smaller cornerbacks, guys. He could take advantage of all that. So my first player that had a potential breakout, it's going to be Mr. 8 himself, Kyle Pitts. He needs to be able to deliver. That's what I'm saying. Millie Mill says, only thing I'm afraid of, Kirk Cousins go out and beat us and got us Penix before initial plan. Yeah, that's what. So just to go back to this, if Kirk Cousins play like shit, man, we it was a bad deal in the first place, right? They gave the man $100 million. He don't play well. I mean, it's a sunk cost. They already guaranteed him the money and nothing you can do about it. But you already got your guy in. And to your point, you want him to sit at least a year. I do. I want him to sit. I want him to learn from Kirk Cousins. Be the Willie Beeman, right? And learn like that. That's what I want him to do. So, but if that happens, man, you just speed up the process. Yes, for the cap space issues and things like that, it's already done deal, man. They both already on the roster. You can't get out that contract, until 26 anyway. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think we're going to see Pitts that we saw the first year with Matt. That's what I'm see Wallace. You weren't what I'm thinking. If we can get that Pitts, that Kyle Pitts, that explosive Kyle Pitts, yeah, man. That's why he's my breakout player. I know we got Bijan. I know Bijan gonna do his thing. I know Drake gonna do his thing. Darnell Mooney, all those guys. But Kyle Pitts, in my estimation, is the key because he's the unicorn, right? I mean, think about it. The highest drafted tight end ever in NFL history. Just this guy, right? Because of his ability, what he was able to do, right? We got to see that. That's what we need to see this year. Billy Mills said AK Darlis, Jesse Bates, Bijan, Kyle Pitts, all have breakout years. You just picking all the stars, man. That'd be the bomb if they all do that. I agree with you. Depending on how they use Troy, he could have a breakout year too. Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of worried about Troy Anderson, and just simply because he wasn't drafted by this coaching staff. Frank Bush is no longer here as the inside linebacker coach, and they just going off film. They have to go back 2 years and look at the way Troy Anderson played 2 years ago. But just looking at what Nate Landman did last year, maybe he supplanted him right now as a starter. Don't know. We have to see how that's going to break out. But I'm kind of worried because it's different coaching staff and Troy Anderson's still raw. I just hope he don't get lost in the mix, man, because he still need to develop a little bit. I hope they be able to utilize him to his skill set because the guy is, just freak of nature, man. Big guy, ran 4.40. Played so many positions in college, trying to learn that linebacker position, and had so much raw, ability there. I think it's untapped. So, just hope he don't get lost in the sauce. But you're right, he could definitely have a breakout season. Fans are demanding a trade of Penix to get the real defensive edge rusher to help the team, something they should have done from the get-go. That's not happening. I mean, like stuff like this right here, like trade for the pass rusher and stuff like that, man. We're gonna find out what this coaching staff all about. They improved. If you go back to my video I did on Wednesday and looked at the depth chart, guys. This defense is deep, especially the front seven is really deep, right? That's a better team is having a deep team, right? You can have that one superstar that can do things, right? But if he goes down, then what you got? You have no depth behind him. The Atlanta Falcons have a deep team. They really do. From deep, those additions they added in the draft really made this team deep, and where they're gonna have to make some decisions when they start to try to get to the 53-man roster. So, I understand everybody angst about the pass rush. John Abraham was the last guy we had. But let's see what this coaching staff can do with these guys. That's why I'm talking about breakout guys, right? That's what I'm talking about, potential breakout. Because you drafted young talent, you want to see them do something, right? You know how I always have to go out and get a vet to fix your hole. That's why you draft and see what you can do with these draft guys. So, you never ever draft an injury-prone prospect. Period. Never works out. We're gonna find out. The fans are demanding Penix trade, smoking edge rushers already on the team. I agree. Well, I guess Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree are not on the team. There are no actual skill experience replacement for the 13 sacks prospect. And see this, and see, so Kenny, this is what I'm talking about. So instead of, you know, developing your players you got on the team, you just want to go out and get another guy and pay him a whole lot of money, right? That's why you draft. You got to develop your draftees, man. That's why I'm talking about potential breakout guys. That's the point I'm making, because you just keep trying to go get veterans and bring them in, bring them in. We trying to see, can we get some guys that we drafted to live up to the potential we drafted, the value that we drafted them at. That's where the coaching come in play. That's what you get it for. So um, that's what we hope to see. This is crazy. They're not going to trade Penix. Of course not. They're going to trade Penix. Bertrand is a sleeper, him and Washington. Yep. Yep. Both of those guys. That's what you want to see. You want to see a young talent, man. That's what you want to see. Injuries are part of the game. No one can stop that. Like Rakundo said, we have to have depth, positions. We need quarterback is important. They had 60 plus quarterbacks last, 67 to be exact, due to injury. Right. So you want the depth, man. This is a deep team, right? And guys, my second potential breakout player that I want to talk about is Armor Ebiketie, right? Armor Ebiketie. Like you talking about pass rush, Armor Ebiketie was drafted in the second round. He had 6 sacks last year. You said Bud Dupree had 6.5. Guess what? Armor Ebiketie had 6. So he's right behind those guys, right? He's the guy that we want to have that breakout season, right? So he had 25 tackles, 6 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. He has to have a breakout season. This is his year. This is his year. Now, he was drafted under the Dean Pease scheme where he was 3-4, right? Dean Pease played a lot of 3-4. Guess what, guys? They going back to that 3-4. I think Armor Ebiketie is due to have that breakout season. I just believe that. He has to, right? We need him to be able to do second round pick. They traded up for this guy. This is somebody that we need to see, a guy like Armor Ebiketie have that, right? Those 6.5 sacks that Bud Dupree had, Armor Ebiketie had 6. So he right behind those guys, right? So this is what he need to do. He needs to have this breakout season. Armor Ebiketie, you're going back to that 3-4 scheme, right? Where you'll be able to come off the edge. You call yourself sack doctor, whatever it is, right? You need to live up to that. You're going to your third season. You know, people say you have that jump from year 1 to year 2. Year 2 to year 3 on a different coaching scheme that hopefully this coaching staff can develop you, right? And getting back into your natural where you've kind of fit better in the scheme on that 3-4 coming off the edge. So that's what I'm hoping. We need to see Armor Ebiketie have that really, really big season this year, right? He needs to be the guy. He needs to be the guy to get the double-digit sacks, right? That's why we pick him, right? 6, right? I can see him increasing his sack total to 8.5. If he do that, that will be a big, big deal for us, right? Go from 6, you increase it by almost 3 sacks, get up to 9, 8.5 sacks. That'd be a good season for Armor Ebiketie. That's what we want to see, right? So that's what we want to see with Armor Ebiketie. Be able to do that, right? Going back to a little scheme that fit him better, being able to stand up, coming off the edge. I think that's going to work well for him. All right. The last guy that I want to talk about is Zach Harrison, right? Zach Harrison. You know, the understudy for Calais Campbell last year, right? And if you look at what he was able to do, now he is going to his second year, right? So we want to have this guy, and now this guy was highly scouted coming out of high school, right? Didn't live up to the whole potential of Ohio State. Wasn't the Chase, wasn't the Chase Youngs and all those guys and stuff like that, but really productive. And he really showed flashes towards the end of the season last year. He ended up with 33 tackles, 4 tackle for loss, and 3 sacks towards the end of the season. So he really came on for us. He learned a lot from Calais Campbell last year. About as big as him, by 6'6", big guy, length. With Raheem Morris, I think Zach Harrison's have an opportunity to have a big jump this year, right? So we got Armor Ebiketie, guy going to the third season. You got Zach Harrison going to the second season. You got Kyle Pitts on the offense doing what he do, right? Those three guys have the breakout season that we need them to have, along with our guys that we already know going to produce, right? Guys like a Jesse Bates, guys like a Bijan, guys like a Drake, right? Guys like a AJ Terrell, guys like a Grady, guys like a David. Those guys we already, that's a given. They're gonna do what they do, right? They're gonna do their job, right? But if you have these other guys, those three guys you talk about, Upper Katie, Zach Harrison, got a Kyle Pitts, right? To get back to what he did his rookie year, if you get all those guys to come along with those guys that we know going to produce, man, the sky's the limit for this Falcon organization. This year, this year, guys, that's what we're talking about. All you need to do is get to the tournament, right? And I like the way Raheem Morris worded, because you don't know what could happen. The Giants went to the Super Bowl twice as a 6th seed, right? They talked about the roast of Tom Brady, right? And the Giants beat him. Both times they was a 6th seed and they beat Tom Brady. Just got to get in the dance, man. Just get in the dance. That's what you got to do. If you get in, that's what we got to do. Get in the dance. And if you get in, hey, man, you got Grady, 3 sacks in the Super Bowl. Show up in the playoff. Jesse Bates, interception in the Super Bowl. Right? We got ballers on this team already. We need some of these breakout guys, these potential guys that can break out to bring it with us this year, right? And if we do that, got depth on this team, right? That front, that defensive line goes 11 deep right now. The defensive line goes 11 deep. With the additions they added in the draft, 11 deep. How many defense? They probably going to keep only 9 or 10 defensive players, defensive ends. I mean, defensive linemen, right? So somebody's not going to make it, right? That's scary to think about how deep this rotation could be for the defensive line, right? That's what I'm talking about. So we got to be able to look at the team in the entirety. Stop living at the names, because a lot of people look at the names, right? We need this name, we need this guy, we need this guy. Man, they're deep. Trust me. I did the breakout go back and look last Wednesday when I did the roster breakdown. This defensive line is really deep. It's really deep, man. I mean, you got guys that you got Eddie Goldman coming back if he stays this time, right? Eddie Goldman, guy that, straight up run stopper. Kentavious Street had showed so many flashes last year. Of course, you got David, you got Grady, right? You got Taquan Graham, who should be coming up into his own, right? We need to see something for him, right? What is Okendeji going to do? Right? Another guy with a lot of length. Maybe he could have a resurgent, this year after being out on the IR last year, right? You still got Lorenzo Carter out there, right? Now, and I haven't even mentioned the rookies yet, right? Because we expect Brandon Darlis to have a pretty contribute a whole lot this season, right? Ruka Rororo, they line that guy up all over the line of scrimmage from a rookie from in Clemson, where they use him, right? They used him at the 4, they used him at the 3, he's facing 5, right? They hadn't even had him out of end. So, what he's going to be doing. And Brandon Trice, the guy is relentless, right? Brandon Trice is relentless. So I expect the rookies to provide some contributions as well. But I'm talking about these guys that's already on the team that can really create depth. That's what we need to see, right? But the 3 guys I'm just highlighting today is Kyle Pitts, right? Kyle Pitts. You add Kyle Pitts to the other guys that we know going to deliver. Kyle Pitts, Armor Ebiketie, Zach Harrison. Those guys, you just add those 3 guys to our horses that we already got that gonna bring it, right? And Bijan and Drake and AJ and Grady and David and Jesse, right? If those guys bring it, man, sky's the limit, man. I'm telling you guys, right? This team has the potential. That's why you can listen to Raheem Morris. He really likes this team, right? But it's up to him. He got to go out and coach him, right? The question marks, we got the question marks on the team because don't act like they didn't address some needs, right? Cornerback. Clark Phillips III. Is he going to be that guy? Right? He has the confidence, right? He has the ability. We're going to see what he do. He did not play bad last year. He delivered. That's probably why they didn't go out and get a cornerback, because they like what they seen out of Clark Phillips III. Could Kevin King come back and look up some of the things he was able to do when he was with Green Bay, right? D. Alford being that slot guy. I think I heard Raheem Morris say he has some safety a capability to him. You know, if you go back and look at the Rams, they played a lot of three safeties. So if Richard Grant is going to be on the field at the same time with DeMarco Hellens and Jesse Bates, we don't know, right? It's a lot of things we don't know about this defense yet, but the pieces are there. They're deep, guys. They're really deep, right? The J.D. Bertrand adding him to the linebacker room has really helped those guys out. Where can they move Caden Ellis? They can move Caden Ellis to have him be a pass rusher. He did that a lot when he was with New Orleans, right? He had eight sacks when he was with New Orleans his last year there, right? So, you know, you could put Troy Anderson on the field with Nate Landman, right? And have Caden Ellis be a pass rusher. So it's a lot of ways they could go with this team. I'm excited to see how they you know, it shape out towards the end here. But those three guys are my breakout guys. So let me get to these comments before we get up out of here. Let's see here. Wallace says we have veteran players on this team, plays outside linebacker to help rookie players out. 100%. Lorenzo Carter. I want to see what D'Angelo Malone is going to be able to provide us this year as well. Kenny says we do not have any money or time to develop when Morris is is a con artist and fails to support his players. He likes to burn his players and throw them under the bus. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. I mean, if you know, if you got some proof on that, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen him do that. Morris is defensive coach. Let it be his job, develop, obtain what we need. The league has leaned on the game being offense. We have to be more competitive on offense. 100%. I like what you said about that. And then, you know, one thing, you go back to the last comment about Raheem Morris. Look what he did with what he was able to do with those rookie defenders last year with the Rams that came in, right? So he do know how to develop players. He developed those guys. Look at Kobe Turner, double-digit sacks last year, right? He was able to do that with those guys. So, yes, they had Aaron Donald there. I get it. You know, man amongst boys. They had Aaron Donald on that squad. But, you know, being able to develop those guys, Raheem Morris does have. He has learned a lot, guys. Think about it. You know, this is second term around. That's why he's the ultimate CEO. He's gonna let his coaches coach, and he's gonna be, you know, there before he can be over the whole team. Millie Mill says, "Damn sack doctor ain't been in the office. He has to show up this year. 100%, dog. You can't give your name the sack. You can't give your nickname the sack doctor. And you 6 sacks. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But you know, we got to be able to deliver. Let's give us some more sacks here. Ricondo, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Caleb McGarry will have a breakout year this year. Kurt is going to get rid of the ball faster and make Caleb McGarry look like a Pro Bowler. Let's hope, man. I'm gonna cross my fingers on that comment right there. I'm gonna cross my fingers on that comment. Let's just hope on that one. 330 says Eddie Goldman can solidify the trenches for us if he works out. Yeah, man. If he decide to stay this year, if Eddie Goldman decide to stay this year, hey, I love it, right? I love it. I love it if he decide to stay. It could be definitely huge for that rotation. I mean, you're taking a David Amiyata out, Grady Jarrett out, and bringing in Kentavious Street with Eddie Goldman there. Yeah, I like that. I like that rotation. I really do. Only on paper, ball boy, the NFC South is a weak division. Atlanta should run through it. Time will tell. Well, it ain't no weaker than the NFC East, Eddie. Talking about the on paper, that's all y'all got. That's all the Cowboys got is paper. Paper team. They never deliver. They never deliver, and when it really counts. Eddie says Goldman was the only brought back if he sustained to play only on the zero tech on this defense. You don't know. You don't even know how they're gonna run their defense. You don't know how they're gonna run this defense. So you might be right, but you don't know how they're gonna run this defense. But this is third time of showing Hope Eddie Goldman decided to stay this time. Michael says, why are so many of the previous players trying to play for him again? Yeah, man. Like I said, the whole narratives about Raheem Morris. I haven't heard that. So that's the first time I'm hearing that. What Kenny was talking about, not calling players. I haven't heard that before. Like he holds players accountable. I've heard that. I heard Ryan Clark said that he called those guys out. So I have heard that. So but Raheem Morris, I think you're right. He's the ultimate player coach. He's no bullshit coach. You tell players, you can hear when he talks to the guys when he call them to welcome to the team. Like no bullshit. That's why the whole quarterback controversy thing, man. He's gonna be a straight shooter with Kirk Cousins. Like, hey, dude, you playing like shit. Don't blame it on me if you get benched, right? That's really what it boiled down to. Quarterback controversy because you ain't winning. That's why. So you just call a spade, right? Don't sugarcoat it. Do what you got to do. Eddie says complex style of play. Yes. It's really going to be interesting to see how Jimmy Lake. This is his first time being a defensive coordinator. On the pro level. So we're really interested to see how he's going to deploy this. We know Raheem Morris is going to have a lot of a say into how these things going to run. He mentioned 6'2", on the short yardage, things like that. I'm interested to see how that look. Like I said, he played a lot of safeties, played 3 safeties a lot in coverage last year. So we'll see how he deployed that, with our safeties. I think they're gonna mix between the 4-3 and the 3-4. I know they said the base 3-4, but I can see with how deep our defensive line is, and with additions that we added, in the trenches from a rookie standpoint, with a Dorless, with a Rook Aurora, and I like Zion Logue too. I know Zion Logue is a raw talent, picked in the 6th round, but that's a huge man, 6'6", 310, 314. His length, if you go back and look at tape from the University of Georgia, the way he's able to hold his point of attack while being double teamed is really, really impressive. So I like, his rawness too. So development is really going to be huge for this coaching staff, right? It's going to be huge. We're going to see if they guys can develop these guys. That's really is important, being able to develop these guys. So I like that as well. But man, don't get it twisted, man. Like we got enough players on this team, right? And from a national media standpoint, that's why guys like me and other content creators exist, guys, because we know this team in and out, right? The national media talks about the big name guys, right? They know Grady Jarrett, they know Jesse Bates, right? They know David Omiyata, they know AJ Terrell, right? They know Drake and Bijan and Kyle, right? They know the big name guys, right? Because guess what? All those guys picked high in the draft, right? Or they've been already all pros and things like that. So that's why I know all those guys. But it's more than that on a team, right? That's why you have to look at a team, right? I don't follow, every NFL team, so I'll be just like national media, just talking about their main guys, right? But when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons, right? When I look at this roster and I look at it from 1 to 53 potentially, right? It's a deep roster, right? It's question marks, but it's question marks on every team because you have to manage your resources in certain places, right? We just talked about it. We got a lot of money right now allocated towards the quarterback position. So guess what? Some of those guys, young guys, gonna have to step up, right? That's why I said potential breakout players, right? Because now you can't allocate money in other areas where you might have to go get a veteran, like Kenny was talking about, right? We need some of these young rookies to be able to develop some of these second-year guys, third-year guys to be able to step up to the plate. So that's what it's all about. But this is a deep team, guys. I'm telling you, it is. And we got to get solid quarterback play from Kirk Cousins this year, right? This team has a chance to be successful. It's just that simple, right? Just that simple. We have the weapons Dante mentioned, the offensive standpoint. We got a chance to be explosive, right? With a Bijan, and I always leave out Tyler Algier for some reason. I don't know why, but that boy is a beast, right? Drake London going to show you why he's a bona fide number one. We're going to be able to see Darnell Mooney go back to 2021, where he was able to, to pop on the scene, right? See him get back to that form. Get guys like Rondale Moore into space, right? The things he was able to do when he was in college, right? That he showed flashes in NFL, but hopefully he could recreate some of that, get him into space, right? That's what we want to be able to see, right? I like this team right now, and people need to get away from the outrage of drafting Michael Penix because he's the future, man. But right now, this team is built to get to the playoffs. It's just that simple. And anything less than that would be a failure. It's no other way about it. They don't make to the playoffs this year, even with injuries, right? Because they're deep enough. I just talked about it. They're deep enough to be able to still make the playoff, even if guys get injured. And last comment, with these weapons, I ain't worried about no team. That's what I'm talking about. And I agree with you, man. Right? I can't wait to see it. And when you got a veteran quarterback like a Kirk Cousins, right? It ain't no defense he ain't seen. Right? Get his man time, he'll pick him apart. What, 4,000 yard seasons? He can do it, man. Right? So to end this out, guys, thank you guys for tuning in today. I really, really enjoyed it. Good conversation. But I really wanted to come in here and let's not start this quarterback controversy crap. Because if it's a quarterback controversy, that means we're losing. It's just that simple, right? It's a results-driven league. If the Atlanta Falcons winning, the media can't talk about Michael Penix waiting. They can't talk about it, right? Go back and look when Green Bay drafted Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers went 13-4. Did they talk about Jordan Love? No. They talking about Aaron Rodgers being the MVP of the league, right? Now, did he deliver in the playoffs? No. He didn't deliver, right? They came up short, but he balled out 2 seasons in a row, back-to-back seasons, right? And they were forced to trade him because he wasn't slowing down, right? He made it easy for him. He wasn't slowing down, but that's what it is, guys. So that's where we're at. I don't want to hear about no quarterback controversy. I want to hear about Atlanta Falcons getting to the freaking playoffs because that's what it's all about. They got to produce. Ain't no excuses this year, right? I don't care about Michael Penix. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. He's the future, right? No excuses. You got your quarterback. You got the players. You got a deep-ass defense, right? No excuses. Let's get to the playoffs. That's where Raheem Morris need to do this year. I don't want to hear that crap about all the other stuff. So that's what I'm saying. So, guys, that's all I have today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really enjoyed it. Let's make this thing happen. Let's rise up the Atlanta Falcons. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.